What up, sexy world travelers? This is your boy, Big Sexy. This is the part of the show where we want to thank our big, sexy world travelers. Now, what makes a sexy world traveler a big, sexy world traveler, you ask? Well, big, sexy world travelers made their way over to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/big sexy digital nomad, or better yet, bullwiththebutthole.com, and became supporters of Big Sexy Digital Nomad. So we want to say thank you to Jesus, Galen Diggs, Smitty Scoop, Angel Quo, Bree, Chris and Lisa Lowry at gowithlisa.com, Sebastian Robbins, Margaret White, Lee Popsicle, and Joshua Tarr. And we want to send a very special thanks to the sponsors of our podcast, Billy and Larissa, over there at cruisehabit.com. To check out their site, go to cruisehabit.com/BSDN or cruisehabit.com/big sexy. If you too would like to be a big sexy world traveler and support this podcast, swing on over to bullwiththebutthole.com. That will take you to our Patreon page, where for as low as $1 a month, you too can become a big sexy world traveler and have your name read at the start of our show. We thank you all for listening. Safe travels.
Safe travel.
Yeah, for those interested in air travel, especially among the South and the West.
They have recently announced that they're famous, or for some, infamous, because everybody's got their own opinion on this.
Right.
Their open seating policy is going to go away sometime in 2025. You are flying solo, and it's just you.
All right.
You have your pick of every single seat in the cabin. Where do you go?
Yeah, I can detach my banana and put it in my satchel.
Can this be a PSA? And I'm sure that I have ranted about this before. You may hear me publicly rant about this because I do not shy away from shaming those shitbags that crowd the fucking baggage conveyor. They don't let the folks sit in that middle section see where I'm sitting, and vice versa.
What kind of weirdo digital nomads from cruise ships? Well, when I'm not being hypnotized by Judge Mentalist or serenaded with custom parodies by Big Sexy, I'm thinking about, talking about, and writing about cruising. Check out ship tours, cruise tips, and even join us on a group cruise by visiting cruisehabit.com/BSDN. Come talk ship with us. Again, that's cruisehabit.com/BSDN. Thanks for listening. Safe travels.
Oh, hey there, you world travelers, you sexy nomads, you amazing, wonderful digital people. It's Judge Mentalist coming at you with a brand new episode 101 of Big Sexy Digital Nomad. The world of air travel is being turned on its head. Well, maybe a little bit in the U.S. sometime next year with no details, but we're going to talk about it. Here's your man, Big Sexy.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this is hitting your ear holes, I hope that it is good. Yeah, for those interested in air travel, especially among the South and the West part of the country, even though they now go everywhere.
There is a major hub in Baltimore, which last I checked was more northeast,
right?
But hey, whatever. Southwest, northeast, same thing.
People get there and start, and they name their company at the market they think they're going to address, and then they realize there's more money to be made if you go almost everywhere. So yeah,
So they have recently announced that they're famous, or for some infamous, because everybody's got their own opinion on this.
right.
Their open seating policy is going to go away sometime in 2025.
In
I
lieu
don't
of paying for primary seating,
my
premier seating.
my true hope is that when they do this, that you are purchasing your seat for the ticket price at the time you purchase it, and it doesn't look like some of the other budget airlines where it's like, hey, look, $50 fare, and then you book it, and then in another almost nickel and dime type of move, they're like, hey, you want to pay $35 to pick a seat? Okay, cool. Oh, you want that seat? That's $45 or whatever. As long as they're giving me the price,
Right.
this
Up
seat
front.
costs this and that seat costs that and whatever, I'm okay with it. Again, they've made no announcement
Right.
as to how they're going to handle it, other than the fact that open seating is going to be gone
A
soon.
thing of the past. Right.
So,
Yeah.
question for you, because I have my preferences and I'll share those, but I want to ask you, when you were how first of all, how often when you were in the US, because they're primarily a domestic US with some international fares to like tropical vacation type locations,
Right.
how often would you fly Southwest?
Almost always.
Almost always.
Almost always. Yeah. Any domestic flight. My first look is towards Southwest. I look there first to see where they're going, what the fares are, and I usually book Southwest almost independently, unless for some reason I can't. Unless there's a major hub of where I need to go.
Right. So when you would book Southwest, would you book you're booking the lowest fare, the one to get away, correct?
Or maybe the next level up, because usually the one to get away isn't the greatest time to fly, right? It's just I want to get away. I'll go whenever I can.
Yeah.
I like to, if I can, if I'm not stuck on having to do travel math. I like to try to fly. My ideal flying time is late morning, early afternoon, right? And then or getting to a place early evening before everything closes down. What tends to happen is we need to go budget, and so I either fly stupid early in the morning, or take the last flight in or what have you.
Would you ever pay the extra money for the early bird check-in?
Usually, sometimes. Again, it depends on the ticket and the budget, right? Not always, mainly because I also know that the earlier you check in, the higher your group number, which you get the better seating wise, as it were. But so I always try to shoot for group A. And usually by the time, because we always set an alarm. Once we book our tickets, we always set an alarm, and the moment it's
To get that
24 hours
24
before
hours.
the flight, when you can check. We always set an alarm and then check in online to get the highest group possible.
All right. So now, dream scenario.
Okay.
You are A16, which is the first non-upgraded business preferred or anything like that. Okay.
Right.
There are no business select customers. There are also no Jetway Jesuses.
Okay.
And this is the first flight of the morning, which means as A16, you are the first, no pre-boarders, no nothing. You are the first person to walk down that jetway. And it's a 6 a.m. red-eye flight or what have you. So there is no...
So I'm dragging myself down that jetway.
It is you. You have your pick. And I'm going to ask this question two ways. You are flying solo, and it's just you.
All right.
You have your pick of every single seat in the cabin. Where do you go?
I go one of two places.
Okay.
I either go the very, very front and very front aisle, or I do exit seat.
Okay.
One of the emergency exit rows, aisle. I'm an aisle kind of guy because I pee a lot,
Okay.
and I hate
So then
having to climb over people to pee.
So the factor of the bonus leg room, the seat behind the missing seat at the exit door, is not in your equation.
Wait, the seat behind? No, because the exit row
Because you want to be on the
front.
aisle.
Yeah, the exit row and the front both have extra leg room.
So you do the whole put all your shit up top if you're taking that very front row.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it's just me and I'm just traveling, I always have my personal satchel on me, and it'll have all the necessities, the earbuds, my wallet, keys, my banana, whatever snack food I have will be in that satchel, and then I can put all the things.
Wait, is your
right
banana
above
detachable?
Me. It is.
Because mine's not.
Yeah, I can detach my banana and put it in my satchel.
Okay, same question, except same scenario, but you're with somebody. So you've got a 16 and 17. There are no pre-boarders. There are no business selects. You are the first and second person skipping your way down the aisle at 6 a.m. Well, before 6 a.m.
Yeah, then if I'm with somebody and I would prefer to have the entire row, I will make my way, and a lot of it also depends on what time I'm arriving and where I got to be when I arrive.
Okay.
If I don't have any kind of time restraints and I can just take my sweet ass time, I will walk all the way to the back of the plane, and one of the last two rows. Right, I know I'll be giving up some of the leg room, and go back there because we can usually take window and aisle, and then nobody will fight for that middle seat unless it's a full flight.
Right. Now,
right.
A few changes to this scenario. Question: do those selections you just described change if you've checked a bag versus if you have not? Is there any impact on that at all?
No.
None whatsoever. Okay.
No. And I generally always try to go for the extra seat again because the extra seat has extra leg room. Right. And you have a seat in front of you so you can put a bag underneath the seat in front of you as well. It just has extra leg room.
So over the years, and I do have another question about that scenario, but I hate and will avoid the scenarios where I've got to put stuff in the overhead bin.
You only want to have stuff in front of the chair in front of you.
I want the stuff in front of me. In fact, I have searched long and hard to find two pieces of carry-on luggage, one that's a backpack and one that's an over-the-shoulder bag, both of which will fit underneath any Southwest Airlines seat, which means I don't need an overhead bin.
Right.
And again, everything that I'm describing here just applies to Southwest, because typically if I'm flying another airline, I'm flying an upgraded class, so the rules are totally different. Everything's totally different. But just in the Mad Dash Wild Southwest booking, that's important for me. So I wouldn't take that very front row even if I were first. I would not take a lot of magicians I've noticed through various social media love that seat behind the missing seat with the extra leg room so much that if they get it, they love to take a picture of it and post it on social media. I don't want that seat. I'm more of a window person myself.
Okay.
I'm more inclined, unless I'm drinking or something like that, which is, as we've talked about before, rarely a thing that it's situational on flights. And it's usually only when I'm with other people, which means the people that I'm stepping over to get to the restroom are people that I'm with, so it doesn't matter. I try to not eat or drink oftentimes I won't even eat or drink on the flight because I'm trying to bottle all that shit up until I get off. I'm not trying to go to the bathroom at all.
Okay.
I'm trying to sleep on the whole damn flight if I can. Sometimes I can accomplish that,
Yeah.
but not
Unfortunately,
always.
I don't have that ability, and sadly.
But
Yeah.
normally, and again, this is the other factor. Does the you mentioned it? Knowledge of completely full flight, which sometimes means that, and sometimes there's a little wiggle room. I have been on quote unquote completely full flights, and I've had an empty seat beside me.
Right.
But
Quote,
does it
unquote,
change if you know that the flight is not completely full?
You again, like I said, my go-tos are those. What I'm going for is extra leg room, and aisle. Like if
Right.
I can get extra leg room, great. If not, I definitely want the aisle seat. If any reason I can't get the aisle seat, then I'll take the middle with somebody I know on the aisle. What I don't like is somebody I don't know on the aisle and I'm in the middle or the window
Right.
on a
So
long flight. It also depends if it's a short flight or a long flight. If it's a short flight, I give a fuck. I don't care where I'm at.
Yeah. So that's the thing. If I'm doing a long flight where I plan on sleeping, I want a window because I want to prop up against it and pass out. And it doesn't, I've noticed that I don't have a preference on which side of the jet I'm on. A window is a window is a window. I can just lean against whatever. It's a wall. It's now my bed. Obviously on my non-Boujee flights.
Are you a neck pillow kind of person? Do you travel with a neck pillow, or do you just use like the hard ass wall?
Usually just the hard ass wall. Although when I went to Oregon, I took a neck pillow with me. I didn't use it on the way out. I did use it on the way home. I don't know what I think about the neck pillow.
Yeah, I think neck pillows. I think inflatable neck pillows with a cloth cover should be standard on all flights, and able to be inflated and given out per request, and then given back, after the flight, and then wash the socks, wash the neck pillow cover and what have you. That way, you don't have to worry about buying a neck pillow. Like they're cool to have, but they're bulky and inconvenient packing. I mean, though you can clip it to the outside, nobody cares. It's just another thing that you have to carry.
Yeah. It's when I flew back, I want to say that it was my St. Louis to Baltimore. Did I fly in and out of Baltimore? I think so. On my way back from Oregon, I had a layover in St. Louis and then came home from there. And we were advised that it was not a completely full flight, spread out, whatever. I don't remember where my boarding group was, but I beelined that to the back of the plane.
Okay.
And I knew that, hey, I'm probably getting a whole row here because they gave us the numbers and the math was such that assuming that people that were traveling with somebody would still sit together, nobody flying solo should have had to sit in a row with anybody, which appeared to be the case.
Okay.
So there I beelined it straight for the back because I also had bags that I checked.
Yeah.
So the time for which I would get off of the plane was completely irrelevant to me. In fact, it was actually preferred that the more I dick around getting off this plane, the less I dick around waiting for.
Right. Yeah, I do prefer backish of the plane if I check bags, because I know that the time it's going to take to get off the plane. I want my baggage to be hitting the carousel as I am walking up to the carousel.
Right.
You know,
and I hate can this be a PSA? And I'm sure that I have ranted about this before, and I promise you, I will rant about this again. In fact, if you fly on a flight that I have checked a bag on, you may hear me publicly rant about this because I do not shy away from shaming those shit bags that crowd the fucking the baggage conveyor. If you go to LAS, for example, Vegas, there is literally a different colored tile that surrounds the baggage claim conveyor.
Right.
Stand behind that fucking tile. The number of people that can fit, if everybody stands behind that tile and be able to see whether their bags are there or not, is almost everyone, especially if you have a party of 4. Yes, I'm speaking to you families.
Right.
With a tone. Only one of your asses is going to pull those bags off the conveyor, so only that person should be looking this, should be standing anywhere near it. Everybody else, move the fuck away.
Go sit your ass down.
Sit down. You crowding it, not making your shit show up. All you're going to do is get elbowed or get hit with a bag from an asshole like me who doesn't appreciate what the fuck you're doing. And I pay zero regard for what my bag hits as I'm pulling it off of that conveyor. Not to say I'm aiming for anybody. I am.
Right.
But
if you're in the
it
way,
looks
you're
like
in the
I
way.
am. It definitely looks like I'm aiming for people when I whip that bag off of there if there are people standing too close.
Now,
Just
do you tend
a
to have
little
enough
common decency.
luggage? Do you tend to have enough luggage to get a luggage cart, or are you usually just at least one, just like a one bag? You can hand it all. You can do it all, via just.
It's all just me. Yeah, I don't need a luggage cart. And normally, like for shows, I don't need to check a bag to do a show.
Right.
I don't necessarily need anything except for an iPad that has all my sound cues on if I'm going to a venue that has all of the sound stuff set up.
Right. Yeah.
However,
your
what
hypnosis
is
show, you can put your hypnosis show in a check-on bag. I mean, a carry-on bag.
I don't even need that most of the time. I mean, again, if I know for a fact that, hey, the venue that I'm showing up at is a proper theater, has all the lights and sounds that I need, all the sound stuff that I need, I know they're going to have a quality microphone. I don't need shit other than the clothes on my back. And those are the kind of things where, while I generally tend to wear the same stuff on stage for identity and branding purposes, it's not a deal breaker.
Right.
As one Matt Donnelly has learned, give me a karaoke mic and a space with some chairs to put people on, and I'll just start doing a hypnosis show in the middle of a bar in Baltimore. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
And
you don't have to run out to your car to put on your jacket.
No, I don't really care about that. I actually probably was wearing the jacket that night because I performed earlier at Pose that night. But, if I'm checking a bag for some place that I'm doing a show, it's because there's merch in there, and that's almost all that's in there. Nothing else is really important for me doing that show, which is great. It packs so light. Again, all that I'm bringing with me is in the check bag. There is merch. Or, if I'm going for a longer period of time, then there might be some clothes in there. Like,
right. If you're staying for a week or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to the Rochester Friend Festival and you'll be there for some time, you might take some clothes with you.
Yeah. Well, that we're driving. I'm not flying up there. So
I'll worry about that.
I'll bring more stuff to that. Also because we've got those Bernardo Judge 24 Make Amazement Great Again shirts. We've got those in hand. So we're going to take those and blow those out at the Fringe. Those are probably all going to disappear. I've got all my pendulums and stuff that the wife made. Those are going to be, I have a feeling that those are going to be pretty hot seller at the Fringe because it just
cool deal
falls into that crowd fairly well. But yeah, that's interesting to see anybody's opinions on if it affects you at all, if you care, if you don't care, what you'd like to see it be with respect to the Southwest changing their policies on their seating.
Yeah, and I'm also gonna actually put a poll in this episode on the Spotify because they allow you to put polls. Are you window or aisle? When you
What's that?
fly, do you prefer window or aisle seat?
If I
Window,
am usually
aisle.
window, especially if I'm planning to sleep. But
Or
I'm
are you a
warmed up.
weird fucker that likes the middle?
No, definitely not. I'm warming up to the aisle a little bit, but I'm
Yeah,
mostly a window person.
I only like the aisle again because I pee frequently. I used to be a window guy before I developed my diabetes and bladder issues or whatever. Because I like to look at the scenery
Yeah.
and the topography as you're flying over. I love that view and that looking. I love to maybe see the city that you're flying into or cities you're flying over. You know, seeing iconic skylines and stuff like that. I love that kind of stuff. I also like looking at weather. I like looking at clouds or the sun, whatever. I like looking at the sky, but but I hate having to cross over people more. So give me an aisle. But yeah,
Yeah.
I want to know, listeners, let us know if you are aisle or window or weird middle person.
Yeah. That's and again, take those same questions that I asked Big Sexy and give us the answers to it. I'd love to see, because everybody's got that different sort of, hey, I want to be here, hey, I want to be there. A lot of people want their stuff in the overhead bin. I know people that want to sit in the very back of the plane, but they're not concerned with their, I don't know why. But they're not concerned with their having access to their stuff. So they will put stuff that they know that they're not going to try to access in the very first available to them overhead bin as they're boarding the plane. Throw their stuff up there and then continue on to the back of the plane.
Yeah, inevitably,
and then they collect it on the way out.
Something in the bag. Like when I put stuff in the overhead bins, and I always end up having to get something out of that bag.
Yeah. Well, that's why I keep mine with me and underneath.
Right. Well, I always have one with me and underneath because I have like all my necessities and snacks or whatever. But I'll invariably like put like, I don't know, a jacket and it's a cold ass flight, or somehow my headphones got put overhead and they weren't in my backpack. Always something. There's always some shit ends up there. The other thing we always have to consider is we're traveling with a dog, right? And so he's in a kennel and he has to be under the seat in front of us. So now I'm usually in the position I don't like, which is, wife is usually by the window. It's easier to have Fox there. And then I'm usually in the middle with that aisle seat open to some random third person.
Yeah.
I love the planes that just have two seats. It's either aisle or window, no middle seat. Or if it's like, those planes that have like the middle section.
Oh, I haven't been in one of those in a long time.
If you're going in big old Airbus that has the seats left, right, and middle, do you have a preference?
All right, so let me put it to you this way. All right. If I have recently been on one of those planes that has the middle section, I have boarded that plane and went to the left and never saw that section. So again, going back into if I'm not flying Southwest, I'm flying Boujee.
Right.
They don't let the folks that sit in that middle section see where I'm sitting, and vice versa. But I do know, obviously I'm aware that there are a lot of different configurations. I can't tell you when the last time I was on a plane that was like that was. Or at least where I got to see it. Because again, I generally either do the Southwest thing, or if I break out of Southwest, I'm flying business class or first class. And the bigger planes that have the first class that have those lay down cabins, you're going in and then you're getting diverted to the left where you go up into the area where those little lay down pods are. You don't even see.
Have you been in those seating that like above the cockpit, like those top tier?
No, I haven't gone to that level yet. And I know that there's stuff that's much nicer. And apparently, and I think I talked about this when we came back from Egypt and London. We had those lay down pods, which before this trip I thought were the pinnacle, right? Other than if you're flying like Emirates that have literally like condos in their first class area or some shit like that, right? I'm not talking about that. But apparently what we booked was not, as far as British Airways concerned, quote, first class. So if we wanted Wi-Fi, we had to pay extra for it. I'm like, wait, how is this not first class? Like, I tell me about that plane. Not that I feel like paying for it because those seats were pricey AF. But it's the one thing that I love, so that I can circle back to my rant and my pet peeve. The one thing I do love about flying first class is that if you're checking bags, they will tag those bags priority. They will come off that belt first, which means I am definitely hitting one of those assholes that doesn't stand back with my bag.
Right. Because
so stand back.
In your way. Move. My
don't
bag
be
first.
That guy and don't get hit.
Right. Or if
I am not polite about it.
We told you so. If you didn't know we told you so, you should be listening to the podcast.
And I'm nowhere near as much of a dick as a lot of people are, and I know that other people have that pet peeve.
Yeah, I also have that pet peeve. I have people crowding because I need to get in and get my bag, especially if I see my bag and I got to maneuver through people. Fuck that.
I will turn to the person that I am flying with and say, well, look at this. Here we are again with all these idiots standing way too close to the conveyor belt. Why do they think that the floor is a different color there? And I will say it at a volume that everybody in that space can hear it. And when I fly solo, I pretend somebody's standing beside me, and I turn to that pretend person, and I have the same fucking conversation. Yeah. Do I look like a fucking nutso psychopath? Probably.
Sure.
Do I care? Sure. No.
Will you eventually go viral because somebody's going to record that happening? Yes.
Do I feel like that it is important that I am an evangelist for this, and that eventually just the ripple of that this concept truly can trickle down to everybody that flies. So if you do nothing else, okay, I know we've talked about, hey, let's help share this podcast and tell other people about it. This is the episode, number 101. Teach people how to use baggage claim.
Right. And as promised, right? Post episode 100, we want to get a little bit more into some educational content. First lesson, back the fuck away from the baggage claim. If you're back, just stay back.
Yes.
Right. Tip, big sexy tip. Big sexy digital nomad tip. Stay beside the other color line while you're waiting for your bags. There's no reason to crowd the baggage area. When you see your bag, move in. Then you have room to maneuver.
Right.
And get your bag.
Because you're going to go in, you're going to get your bag. You're not going to whack anybody with it because everybody else is going to be standing clear. And then you're going to get out of the way. And it moves smoothly.
And if you have multiple bags, right. And if you have multiple bags, you can pull bag 1, pull bag 2, pull bag 3 if you got it, and then move out the way.
And when you're traveling with a bigger group, designate one person to get the luggage and everybody else sit the fuck down.
Correct. Top 2, bring 2 people. One person to get it off the rack, second person to
the other person to wheel it away. But that person can float back even further because they don't move until you move. So here's the thing. Think of it like a relay race, all right? You've got somebody that's going to grab the bag off the conveyor. They are standing 6 feet back at an appropriate distance, usually designated by a different color on the floor. The same distance further back is your daisy chain person. The baton, you pass the baton. As person number 1 moves forward to the conveyor belt because they've actually seen a bag that they want, person number 2 moves and fills the footsteps of person number 1. And then when they turn around and bring the bag back, you grab it and move back to where you originally were. Mission accomplished. No one jams the process.
Correct. Yeah. I think one of my top pet peeves are the people who stand up before the plane.
The doors are even open. Yeah.
Doors even open, finish taxiing. The people who just stand up behind row 7.
Yeah.
Like, why are you all standing up? You can't go nowhere. Like, I like to sit down and relax. And again, if I can make it so that I don't have to rush to another flight or catch somebody or whatever, I do it like I treat the movies, right? Like I'm a person who will sit and watch the credits roll until the very end and be the last person out of the theater. I have oftentimes been one of the last people off the plane.
I will say
own fucking pace.
Maybe a slight defense to some folks that stand up too early. I understand that there is overall for people who are not flying regularly, it's an anxious time. There's a lot of animosity. I also understand that there's oftentimes you've got a connecting flight and you don't want to miss it. So, and you don't know, a lot of times you get there and you don't know where your connecting gate's going to be. So you don't know if you're going to be 2 gates down or 2 terminals away. So I get that, but it certainly would be nice for them to have some sort of process where it's like, hey, if this is the termination of your flight, let people who are connecting leave first. But some airlines do that, some don't. Some only do it if they know that there's that there is a crunch, because usually you're not crunched. And
usually you're not.
You just think that you are because you're a rookie.
Right. And I mean, I do get it. You've been sitting down for however many hours that flight is. You want to get up and stretch your legs. I'm fine with that. It's the people who get up and like crowd the aisle. Especially if I'm sitting in an aisle seat and some dude's just standing next to me with his junk just all like right next to my face. Like,
yeah,
you ain't got to be right here, dude. You can be moving. And then you're blocking me from when I got to get out and get my bag. When I'm following you watch the row of people in front of you move to you, and then you get out, go get your bag. Like, let that process happen. Let me out, get my bags, get all situated. And it's tough because my wife will be sitting down, in the window, and she's getting the dog from under the seat. And these are not easy. They don't make it easy, right? These seats aren't designed to just slide things in and out. There's always, you got to maneuver shit.
Yeah.
Right. And then you got to maneuver in a really tiny, small space. Yeah. So then people crowd from the back. It's like, well, I need to move out of the way so she can get the dog out. And so we can, like, y'all going to have to wait. We about to take up this hour right now, and it's our turn to go. Sorry. You're going to have to wait for us.
Have you ever been on a flight where the oxygen masks drop?
No.
Same.
No, I've never been in a situation where the cabin was depressurized.
Yeah, I've not had that. I have not experienced that yet myself. Probably not the question I should be asking.
Well, yeah, because I'm about to do a whole bunch of travel soon. There's things happening. Hang on a second, listeners. I'm going to pause the recording real quick. Okay, and we're back. That's our little hiccup. We're having a little pet emergency.
I mean, we never went anywhere, We
according to our listeners, no, it was like really quick. Yeah, so we got to figure out all the travel man. And we're talking about this funny. We're about to begin our crazy journey to Mexico starts tomorrow. In a sense, we have to leave here, go back to France, and then we'll spend the night and get our dog and everything. We'll spend the night in France, and we'll catch the train from Calais down to Orly, where we'll catch a flight to Malaga, and then we'll spend the night in Malaga. In the morning, we'll catch a train from Malaga to Madrid, and then fly out from Madrid to Cancun. And
Beautiful.
we'll do that in the next 2 days.
And how long do you know for sure that you will be in Mexico, in that region of Mexico?
We'll probably be there for we can be there for up to 6 months. So at least 3 to 5 months. So, depending on when we get there, how long we decide to stay. But we already have a place to book there for a few weeks. And then, we'll go from there.
I'm working with the wife. We might be going somewhere the 3rd week of October, and Mexico is on that. Mexico's on the list of
we should probably
potentials.
still be there. Yeah, we'll be in Playa del Carmen.
Cool. Yeah, that I'll make sure that is. It is within the. She likes going to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we end up doing that and you're there, we'll sneak you into our all-inclusive resort.
I like it.
Get you good and drunk for free.
Yes, please. We definitely have to have one of those nights. If they have some place nearby that does karaoke, even better.
I think they do stuff like that on the resort.
Usually they do.
I'll be
listeners. You're about to hear some behind the scenes stuff. I'll probably cut this out, babe. It says the Pets at Home in Bexhill is open until 8 p.m. 7. Okay. Yeah, I just pulled up the. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So yeah, and we thread some needles and we have wide open time in others. Like we start our journey. Like we have to leave here like at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. So like once we're done recording, I'm gonna pack everything up, get everything ready to go, do all the things, and then 4 a.m. we head to the train station, and we'll take a train from St. Leonard on the Sea to Dover Priory and it really is plane, trains, automobiles, and ferries. We'll take a car from Dover Priory to the Dover ferry port. We'll hop on the ferry. We'll take that ferry across the English Channel over to France, back to Calais, where our dog
ferry that has such weird fucking rules.
Right, where you can bring a dog in a car, and then take the dog out of the car to the pet lounge, but you can't bring the dog on foot in the kennel and then take him over to the pet lounge. They don't allow that. So then our dog sitter is a wonderful person, is going to pick us up at the port, and then we're going to go to the vet to get the health certificate for Mexico. Get that taken care of and purchased, and then we have an Airbnb for the night, so we'll stay in there. And then we'll get up in the morning from the Airbnb, go to the train station in Calais, and take the train down to Orly, to Gatford or something like that, and then we'll take the metro from Gatford Nord to Orly, where we'll hop on the plane, go through all the check-in, get on the plane, and then we'll fly. We'll get to Malaga by like 11:35 p.m. And then we'll go to our Airbnb. Hopefully we'll arrive in enough time to catch the last train, but we might end up having to take a taxi. I don't know. But hopefully in time to catch the last train. We'll also have all our bags, so that's going to be a bit of a madhouse carriage to the we won't have all our bags. We'll pick all our bags up the next morning. So get to our Airbnb, Next morning, we have to pick up our bags from our friends Emma and Gianni, and then get to the train station in Malaga, Maria Zambrana, where we'll hop on a train to Madrid. And then we have to take the metro from the Madrid train station to the Madrid airport, do all that check-in, and then get on the plane and fly from Madrid to Mexico. And then we get in Mexico, in Cancun. We will, depending on how far Cancun is from Playa del Carmen and what kind of public transportation options there are, we'll either get an Uber, taxi, or if there's a train line or some kind of other public transportation, we'll do that. And then once we get to Playa del Carmen in our Airbnb, I'm going to sleep and relax and breathe and just go fuck a duck. Holy shit, we made it. So we got crazy travel plans coming up. I do want to say a big thank you and a shout out to two couples. Our friends Joe and Alex Lakey came out yesterday and visited us. They came down from Chesham in England, about a 2.5 hour drive. And then shout out to our friends Bree and Sam, who came down from Tring, about a 2.5 hour drive. They live about 10 minutes from each other, which is hilarious. But Sam and Bree came out on Saturday, and we hung out, walked to Old Town, saw a ruined castle. We did some very quintessential British experiences. Me and the wife have gotten fish and chips at on the small chippery up on King's Road. I mean, very, very English. We got ice creams along the seashore. We went to a seaside arcade. We took a vernacular up to castle ruins. We walked through Old Town, took photos, whatever. They had this really cool art walk along the shore in a place called Bottle Alley, right? So a lot of artists had their things set up, and it was walked really cool, a lot of cool art and stuff like that. Some pieces I took a lot of photos, and some cards like, oh, I wouldn't mind commissioning a piece from this artist if I ever get to, commission the art kind of money. And then Sunday, the Lakeys came out and we got a nice little brunch area, and then did the same art walk. And it's cool because it was all different artists. Just until you got to near the end, it was all different artists. Oh, this is brand new. This is really, really cool. So we walked along that, saw that, and then hung out. And they made us some scones with jam and a cream, whatever. So we shared that and we hung out, took pictures. Bree and Sam. So I don't know if I'm sure I mentioned on the podcast. We were supposed to go to their wedding, but we couldn't make it. So we sent them big heads of us. And so they brought the big heads back, brought them with them. So we did a fun little photo shoot with the big heads out and about. So it was really cool. So big shout out to the Lakeys and the Reeds for joining us. We really appreciate y'all coming out.
Cool.
Yeah. And you have the Fringe is coming, right? Right around the corner, right?
Rochester Fringe is less than a month away. It is
my birthday. Didn't I just realized the other day, like today, as of this recording, is August 19th. My birthday is in 12 days.
Yeah.
I have nothing planned. But I'll be in Mexico, so I'll maybe find a karaoke spot or
get you a cerveza or something.
Yeah. Well, I don't drink cervezas,
I'm just.
I'll get a margarita, some tequila.
Yeah.
I'm in Mexico. I'll get some tequila. Oh man, I had a fun night doing karaoke here in England at the Forbidden Fruit, which apparently is a gay bar, but it looked just like a bar I guess that gay people go to. It doesn't scream gay bar to me, even though it had rainbow staircase. Whatever, it's pretty cool. A lot of fun. That's
usually the sign because the beer taps and the coolers and all that other stuff are pretty much the same.
Yeah, but the difference is that they'll throw rainbows up in different places and what have you. And you know, they do a drag show on Saturdays, which I caught a portion of as well. It's exciting. Man. Today we went to the movies. We went to go see Inside Out 2, which was really good. It was really good. Shout out to Disney and Pixar for knocking another one out the park. Hitting me in all the feels. I love those fucking kind of movies. Saw Deadpool and Wolverine twice since we've been here. Lots happened.
Still haven't seen it. I'll get there. I will, I
Yeah.
promise. Promising myself more than I'm promising the listeners.
Right. It's really good. It really, really is. It's really good. They've all been phenomenal, and this one continues that trend. You know, you think maybe it's going to get stale or whatever. It doesn't. It doesn't get stale. It gets
good.
awesome and amazing. Yeah. You definitely got to check those out.
Sweet.
Well, yeah. So, listeners, that's what we got coming up. Stay tuned. Be sure to follow our socials because we got, you got prep for Rock Fringe coming up. You got shows to learn, right?
Yeah. So, if anybody's listening to this and they're anywhere in the Mid-Atlantic, closer to where I am, so next Tuesday, when you're listening to this, I am doing a preview show of my Rochester Fringe set here in Elkton.
Nice.
At the Elkton Music Hall. It's going to be a 21 and over show, so you can't bring kids to it. Not because of content, just because of their liquor license.
Right.
But I'm doing a run through. It'll be the first time that I'm doing this version of this show. And would love it if some people come out. The tickets are only $10. That includes all of the fees.
Oh, cool. You should definitely record some of it.
I record everything.
Yeah, so we'll
I record all the shows. Not that I do anything that would put me into a liability problem, but my insurance carrier loves hearing that I record all of my shows. Right.
But we can throw that up behind our Patreon wall so that some of our Patreon members have access to really cool footage. And if you want to become a Patreon member, just be sure to swing on over to bullwiththebutthole.com. For merely $1 a month, you can be a subscriber to the podcast, get access to all the extra bonus material, all the fun footage. Since we're in episode 101, listeners, you probably already know I've been popping up bonus material left and right on the podcast. Once I get to Mexico, or now that I'm in Mexico, as you're listening to this, a lot of my focus is actually editing a lot of the footage of the travel so far, making short videos and putting stuff together. I made a slideshow of our year. We did a 100, not a year in review, but slideshow of our artwork and previous episode cover art that Judge Mentalist used to do when he was almost psychic, and stopped doing that shit because it was too much work. But I made a slideshow to the AI song, our theme song, "Where in the World is Big Sexy?" So enjoy that. That'll be up on the Patreon as its own video. And I might actually use that song and make several different videos using that song with footage and different things like that. I'll play around and toy around with that. I'll have time when I'm in Mexico to focus on that. The fact that we'll be in a place for long term and settled will give me an opportunity to really dive in and put things together for you guys. In the meantime, if you think anybody would love this kind of podcast, love this kind of content, this madness, this mayhem, please share the podcast with your friends and family. If people have travel questions and they want to know specific things about travel, send us a message. And if we don't know it, we'll research it. Like, I'll do my due diligence and I'll research it. I'll find some references and I can get more educational, as it were. This is a fun, entertaining podcast. We like to, have fun and shenanigans, but we also do want to educate listeners and things like that as well. So with that, it sounds like dinner's ready.
Oh, I heard that alarm.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and call it here.
Cool.
Thanks again. We appreciate y'all. Be sure to go to cruisehabit.com/BSDN for all your cruising specialties and needs. And in the meantime, Safe
Safe
travels.
travels. Got shit blowing up on me left and right.